You know what I'm saying? You know the trend that go, I used to be a hell of an athlete. A lot of them is joking, and then you got some that's real. And I never played sports, but I could relate to dumping your all and all of your time into something, and then that shit just don't work out. You got to work a regular job. And I be seeing these dudes, they'll do a drill or whatever the case may be at their job, and then sometimes they knee will give out, and the comment will say, the prime you would have known what to do. You know, they'll say something like that. And it's crazy because a lot of people never get to pursue their dream. And the thing about athletes is, what make me so sad for them is they have a very short, shelf life. If you don't make it, because it's a physical sport, and to play with the best of the best, you got to have peak, physical condition. A lot of that shit be gone. And, you can't even do it if you wanted to. It's over. You know what I'm saying? He 50 years old talking about his high school self. You know what I mean? But you got to think about it. That was a time he was fast. He had people patting him on his back, saying, boy, you good, boy, you strong. Whatever he was good at, that was his prime back then, right? And life happens. His knee probably gave out, or maybe he just couldn't get to the peak performance. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you was good until you met people that was better, and then your dreams shattered. Whatever the case may be, whether it was a physical thing or, a talent thing, your dreams fail, and then you have to work a regular job. So you criticize people saying, man, why you keep talking about that shit? You was in high school, nigga. You 55 years old. Because that was the last time they was good at something. That was the last time they felt young. They felt strong. And sometimes they like to think about that. That keeps them alive. That keeps them working. The fact that they could do that. They did do that. You know what I'm saying? I'm 26. And as you age, you'll understand why older people always say, back in my day, or when I was your age, when you grow up, you kind of hear them say that all the time. And you kind of look at them like, man, you always talking about the past, until you start aging. It reminded me of that interview, the dude, he was talking about Frank Sinatra, and he said that he was performing a show, and he was forgetting the lyrics, right? He was old. He was forgetting the lyrics, and he kind of gave up. He like, damn. And he put the microphone down, and the dude in the crowd say, that's all right, Frank. We still love you. You know what I mean? That shit's sad because age and time is undefeated. Frank kept saying, sorry, I'm sorry. And the reason he was saying that, because back in them days, Frank Sinatra and them, they were showmen. You know what I mean? They could sing. They was real about behind the scenes and making you have a good show, making sure you enjoy them singing, right? But age caught up with him. So he forgot the lyrics. And then he couldn't think of them. And, he's thinking like, damn, I'm giving them a bad show. You know what I mean? So that's why he put the mic down. And they say, it's all right, Frank. It's all right. We love you. Feel what I'm saying? Time is undefeated. There was a time where Frank Sinatra could sing a whole bunch of songs. He would act in movies. Women would swoon over him, right? And he lived long enough to where his mind and his physical capabilities start running out on him. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes I generally lose my mind over that shit. Like, death is such a crazy thing, And we all know that you got to go sometimes. People that done went. But it's so crazy if you really think about it. Like, one day you ain't going to be here. One day your friend or your family member ain't going to be here. And for people that lost somebody, it's just so crazy how existence is. Like, somebody that that was breathing, talking, walking around, smiling, laughing. One day they just gone. They're under the dirt. You know what I'm saying? Or they cremated. Like, they just gone completely. Feel what I'm saying? And even though I believe in the afterlife, I believe in going to heaven and stuff like that, it's just like, you really don't know. You know what I mean? Even though that's what I believe, you really don't know for sure. What we do know is that death is inevitable, and that bitch does come hanging around your ass. You know what I'm saying? Death is crazy. You know what I mean? Sometimes I can't wrap my mind around death. I think about death a lot. My own death and then other people's death. But it's like, it's such a crazy thing. Death is so crazy to me. It's almost as if it's a fantasy. You know what I mean? It's something that you see that happens in life, or, somebody's ending. But when you're not the one that's dying, it's almost like, wow, there's going to be a day where I won't exist no more. You know what I'm saying? And the reason it's a fantasy is because when you die, it ain't like you're going to be thinking about it. Like, you ain't going to be thinking, oh, I'm dead now, so I'm going through death now. You ain't going to be going through nothing. You know what I'm saying? Until it's time for God to call you up, you know what I mean? Call the dead. But till then, you just don't hear nothing. That's why I'm such a big advocate for doing a lot of things in your life, trying all kind of things. Because even if it's short, you could do a lot of things, experience a lot. And it don't have to be negative things like drugs and sex and all that. It could be traveling. It could be meeting people. It could be directing. It could be art, music, all kind of things that you could do in this beautiful world. See a lot of beautiful places. I mean, look at Tupac. You know what I'm saying? All the things that he went through and all the things that he accomplished. Speaking of Tupac, a lot of people ain't Tupac fans because they always say Tupac go crazy and went crazy when he got to death row. When actually it's the opposite. When Tupac went to death row, he actually calmed down a lot. That's how he made all them songs, and he had made like 3 movies in 1996. The Tupac you're thinking about is 1995, 94, 93 Tupac. When he got with death row, he actually calmed down. Unfortunately, he died with death row. Feel what I'm saying? They think that Tupac was like a thug and thugged out when he was with death row. He was thug life, all that shit before that. Like, he was spitting at the camera in 94. He had thug life in like 93. That shit on his stomach, that was 93. You know what I'm saying? That was when he was with this group called Thug Life. They made a whole album together. That album raw as fuck, by the way. But a lot of people, when they think about Tupac and they think about death row, they think that's what was the downfall of Tupac. Which I will say that death row was the downfall of Tupac, but his actual character and actual life was calmed down with death row. Death row themselves, the label was actually bad. You know what I'm saying? The people that was in it kind of led him down that, path. But himself, he calmed down. You know what I'm saying? But look at all the shit that he accomplished in 1996. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm such a huge advocate for doing things in life and just going crazy. You know what I mean? When people leave comments like, all this won't matter 99 years from now, none of us in the comments will be alive. I trip off when I see shit like that. That shit put me in like a mode of just thinking and thoughts, you know what I mean? Like, damn, there'll be a day where I don't exist. Like, when you talk about Beethoven or any artist or painter or whatever the case may be, that was like in the 1600s, ain't it crazy that them motherfuckers is dead? You know what I'm saying? Them niggas is dead. They lived in an era and was breathing, walking around, talking. Then they died. And like, they no longer exist. Like, you kind of keep them alive talking about them, but they really don't exist no more. Feel what I'm saying? It's almost as like, why the fuck was I born anyways if I was going to die? You know what I mean? Why was I born anyway if I was going to die inevitably?